Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Francesca Moore as she comes to the stage.
Hi, I'm here to read a speech for a man that could not be here because his mom is dying of cancer and he ended up in the ER by himself. He was hurting himself, so he could not be here, so I'm going to read Robert Field's speech. Judge Brian Lindsay, a retired Supreme Court judge from New York, once said, "There is no system ever devised by mankind that is guaranteed to rip husband, wife, father, mother, and child apart so bitterly than our present family court system." Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today and I declare that this situation is unacceptable. I stand before you as an American, constitutionally guaranteed the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I stand before you and I carry within me the most holy of holies and the most sacred of all things living. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a mother. I declare that a mother or father is a right, our duties, the most distinct honor to protect our children and yours alike from the proverbial wolves at the door. I believe that knowledge is power and that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I find that by gaining the knowledge of these so-called child protectors, they not only fail themselves, but our children in every aspect of the oath they have sworn to carry out. I find that once pure idea to protect this nation, most sacred asset, its children, has been perverted and manipulated into an unconscionable display of commerce. I find that these child protectors have been given absolute power by statutorily proclaimed absolute immunity, and for the sins of us, the Father, for allowing this to come to pass, the children must suffer. I say to you now, is the time to right these wrongs? I say that it's time to reclaim the true responsibilities of a father, a mother, and protect our children. I would like to speak specifically on a few points that I have uncovered in my gaining of knowledge. And I said previously that the sins of the father are being paid for by the children, and with that thought in, you must mind know that this is by Robert Fields, not me. Mind, I believe this is a problem that must be addressed from the top down. I have discovered that the Florida Department of Children and Families is run by 9 executives. Each of these 9 executives were compensated in a FY 05 minus 06 with a budgetary allotment of $8,301,245. These executives were also budgetary allotted in an expense count valued at over $1 million. When you combine the salary allotment with the expense account allotment, you get $9,532. That equates to $1,059,172 per executive. That is a salary of $922 million and $136 million for expenses. Meanwhile, the Florida Department of Children and Families recognizes the poverty level of the average family to be between $10,400 for one-child family and $21,000 for a 4-child family. Ladies and gentlemen, with a respectable $150,000 a year salary, which is higher than most American families will ever make, $722,360 could be spent between 34 and 74 need families to bring them up on the poverty level. When you consider that between the 9 executives, that could be in a difference to 306 to 667 families, it makes you wonder how any of these executives could face themselves in the mirror every morning. It also begs the question of how this is allowed within a state agency when in similar situations in the private sector, such as the case in Enron Tokyo, executives were brought up in charges, then why aren't these executives facing the same fate? Coincidentally, the executive salaries are not listed in the 2009 edition of the Department of Children and Families Quick Facts page. I've also uncovered an interesting concept. In Florida, various sheriff's departments are paid a total of $50,407,443 to provide protection to privately contracted child protective service agents during investigations. For clarification, these are privately contracted agents. They do not carry a badge nor any law enforcing authority. Also, the sheriffs that protect these agents are not specifically hired sheriffs. They're the same old regular sheriffs that live and work in Florida every day. The fact that sheriff's departments and sheriffs alike are paid by taxpayers means they're paid by their services. The various departments that accept state funding for this protection are double-dipping taxpayers. These sheriffs are the same sheriffs that act as ununiformed guards at banks during their off time. While at their secondary jobs, they're only security, and they're not carrying out a law enforcing position. Therefore, during these protective investigations, these sheriffs cannot threaten to arrest you, nor can they legally do anything other than act as security. If a sheriff were to conduct an unlawful search and seizure, such was the case of Michael versus Grespach, that sheriff would be liable for breaking his oath and also his constitutional rights. So yet again, looking at the fiscal side of this argument, that's 2,400 to 4,846 families that could be brought up to the minimum poverty level and negate the need for services rendered by the department in one state alone. Please keep in mind that the number of families is also assuming zero income for the entire family before financial assistance, when you consider at least some of these families will have income, but not enough to bridge to the gap to the poverty level that still leaves a fiscal surplus to support other families. So quite exponentially, these numbers will go up. The Office of Family Safety claimed a budget of over $1 million to serve 45,892 children in a previous year. That equates to $22,000 per child. That should mean 45,892 children and their family are no longer in the poverty level. In reality, this funding goes to provide contract agents with their very own fleet vehicles, cell phones, camera cell phones, digital cameras, laptops, and etc. The Safe Children Coalition is a Sarasota YMCA-ran program. This program has been hailed as the most successful program that allows a 5% margin of abuse to happen during the institutionalizing of a child. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2,295 children have been abused. Over 2,295 children have been abandoned. Over 2,295 children have been neglected. Over 2,295 children have been sexually assaulted. And over 2,295 children have been protected to death.